morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Today, I'm doing professional development on the environment, which is part of the 6th grade curricula for Baltimore Public Schools. The standards that I'm using are Standard 6.0, the environmental science, which says students will use specific skills and process to explain and interact of environmental factors, living and non-living, and analyze the impact from the local to the global perspective. Now, first off, Mark, you might hold up the acorn. Everyone that has an acorn, hold it up. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Just continue on with the acorn. If you're driving, tell me, how does an acorn relates to the environment and driving?
Windshield.
Okay. You think it was windshield? Okay. What else?
Or I think if they use biodiesel, maybe they can use acorns to make biodiesel.
Biodiesel. Okay, that's another one. Can someone else think of some other reasons? How can a simple acorn affect your driving? And we are going to explain the environmental change of the little things that we do in the environment, how it can make a big impact on our lives, and how do we affect the environment. Now, this is my motivation tool, is to get people to start thinking about what does the littlest things in the world does. Now, if you guys saw me draw, I'm sorry about Africa, but you saw me draw from Asia down to Africa. You also saw me draw a circle in this one little area right here. I'm going to say, because of this little circle in the environment, it cost the taxpayers about like $4 million to fix something, a little bit of trash of a little acorn. It's a personal experience that I went through, that I will explain a little bit later on. But open that thing right there. Now, it's a specific location, the international date line and the equator. International date line and the equator. Where we was almost forced to surface in the middle of a mission when I was in the Navy because of trash. There was enough trash to actually damage a Los Angeles class submarine. Now, I'll let you pass it. In this lesson, I'm also putting my personal experience in it for the stuff I've seen, as well as what the 6th graders will be learned to do as far as what they're required to do the research. Just to see that you guys know that I was there at the international time zone and the equator. Dr. You have the picture with somebody actually in a trash field?
I think I passed it around.
Oh.
Yeah, right there.
You can actually see some sharks and some trash that's in the picture. So I'm just using my own personal experience to talk about the environment. Only thing that's not shown in this picture is how we killed a blue whale. Just trying to save the submarine. In my lesson, I have students start thinking about the link between an acorn and how they get to school. Okay? Now, unfortunately, I can't bring up the simulation that I will show you guys about I think it was in 2011, in Nagasaki, Japan. They had a failed reactor leak that within 3 days, can be felt on the coast, west coast of the United States, within 3 days. The reactor itself, a lot of people do not realize that it's also part of the environment, that we get uranium from fresh water, like in freshwater lakes, that is processed to become something like uranium-257, which we use for nuclear reactors to power our homes. Now, the simple acorn, which grows to the tree, we extract resonance that's used for the plastics, that's used to make a lot of materials that we use, including inside our cars. Now, in this lesson, in my lesson plan, after I was supposed to model to the students about a small thing, how a small thing can make a big impact, I had the students divided into several groups. Each group has one person on the computer, one person using the magazine, one person used an impact research site that I provided, and also one person used information that's in the Maryland text. And along the package that Dr. Ellaby has, it actually has a pretest that's used in the Maryland State Common Core thing. Unfortunately, I don't have that. You guys don't have that. And I based this lesson on how a person got qualified on a board of ship. They said, your drop of water power a nuclear reactor. Your drop of water fire an ACAP torpedo. Your drop of water make air aboard the ship. Now we start off with a simple acorn. Acorn from Midwest of the United States, like Seattle. How is that can help the steel mills in Pittsburgh? And how is the steel from Pittsburgh can help the shipyard that's in Coastal Bay? In Texas. And what impact do we have on it? That students are also going to study things like Exxon, Chernobyl, 3 Mile Island, New York. You guys remember what I showed you at the beginning about Japan? When Japan's reactor would fail? Yes. And that was within 3 days it was able to be felt on the west part of the United States. When we didn't know at the time about 3 Mile Island. Now, who could tell me, but based on what you've seen on the map, when 3 Mile Island had its accidents in the 70s, how close do you think it could have been felt in Maryland? And how fast? Minutes. Now, this is just to show students how the littlest things in the environment that we do can affect the change of the environment and can also affect us. I know sometimes I go to a little extreme with things, but there's a reason why I go a little extreme with things. Just like the trash field right there, that when we had to surface a $1 billion submarine in the largest trash field on the planet, just to fix a part of the submarine, without the proper equipment. It's not fun swimming in an area with a lot of sharks. And also, things that we also have to think about, what happened roughly about 2 years in this area.
Oil spill.
Hmm?
The oil spill.
Oil spill. Raise your hands if you like shrimp. Raise your hands if you like crabs. Raise your hand if you want to eat shrimp, crabs, and gumbo right now.
That's me.
Raise your hands if you know what the largest area for the United States that produce shrimp at.
Gulf Coast.
Gulf Coast.
Like, I don't mind a little grease on my chicken, but when getting grease into my fish, it's getting kind of bad. That we start to learn about the effects of how different things works in the environment that affects us. Imagine that you get some grain from China, the grain going to Hawaii, stops here somewhere in Delaware. Grain's not being fully checked because of the process of the environment. Next thing you know, we have stink bugs. So I'm just showing a couple examples just to get people motivated about how to check the different things into the environment. How different things, one aspect of the environment can affect other aspects. I'm using, also, this is also based on economics and science. Now, you get corn, just say if you get corn somewhere here in Kansas, how is that corn can affect Ethiopia, part of Africa? Do anyone can think of how the simple corn from Kansas can affect Ethiopia?
Well, if the corn crop fails in what state did you say?
Let's say Kansas.
Kansas, then the crops that we export from the U.S. to other countries, they wouldn't have any food.
Okay, that's one way. That's one way. Another reason is the plant itself. The human beings seem to throw away things, not really paying attention, that the seeds of it can wipe out the indigenous seeds of the place. Just like the white corn from Kansas can wipe out the yellow corn in South America. Because of different environment needs and environmental factors. Now, in my long presentation, based on how I had the groups organized, is basically I pick a resource, and I also pick a location, and I put the students' names in the bag. They'll pick the resource, and they will pick the names of people they have in their group. Notice I said they're going to use computers. They can use magazines, they can use textbooks. So each one person of the group will draw information from that. And then they will write down how, they'll make a little chain of how one thing affects another. Like, you guys remember how a simple acorn can affect the way you get to school? Let's see, who else? Yes.
The stuff that's inside the acorns, how it makes pieces that are part of art.
Yes, the resonance when it grows for a tree. And that's just an example of one plant that we tend to take for granted. Another reason for this lesson is, y'all guys know who's the third largest industry in the state of Maryland? The third largest industry in the state of Maryland deals with agriculture. That's one of the reasons why I got to study the greenhouse. That's the third largest industry in the state of Maryland. The second largest industry in the state of Maryland deals with other natural resources that we have. Personally, so surfacing of the boat in the largest trash field on the planet is not fun. The trash field basically can stretch from Groton, Connecticut to Charleston, North Carolina. Overseas, they are not as strict as we are as far as environmental factors. Raise your hands if you guys ever went to Mexico, plan to go to Mexico. Be careful about the place that you're going to eat on, because the place has lead in it. Lead is also the reason why inside Baltimore City Public Schools we have the Deer Park water. I think my time is up. So to closing, this is why I was planning on doing this lesson plan, and why I was able to implement this lesson plan.